I spent a little time today on YouTube looking at what would be my competition as far as art tutorials go, and nothing out there resembles my work at all. I mean, there's some ink wash stuff, a lot of pencil work, but subject matter wise, it's more traditional, and I don't do traditional stuff usually because I'm in the sci-fi fantasy realm, and I kind of wonder if there's people out there who are missing out on some good techniques because they look at my stuff and don't like the content, which is sad and bad, because I think that I have a lot to share, and there's lots you can learn from what I do. For example, with this little painting, it's kind of a riff on a different painting I did. You probably didn't see it because that painting only got like 5 views, but it was a monster with a lot of eyeballs, and I liked the concept. And today I was on YouTube and I saw a guy who did a demo with these flowers, and I thought, well, flowers is not my real subject, but maybe I could do something with it just to try. Like I said before, YouTube videos are pretty cheap to make, and it just takes me maybe half an hour to do this. So I thought, well, let's use my eyeballs again, and this time I'll put flower petals on them. And it's a kind of a neat little concept, eyeballs with flower petals, and they stem into this monster below. With big, not fangs. We call those that come up from the bottom. They're not called fangs. But and he also has squid arms. So my creature has squid arms, tusks. They're called tusks. And he has a big nose, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 eyeballs, and they're all looking different directions. But if you're watching this and want to learn how to do some stuff, I could teach you right here that thickening up your outside lines gives it a nice cartoon look. Work on your cross-hatching for shading. Cross-hatching, to me at least, means a lot. I learned that very young, very early on in my life, and I think people who cross-hatch well, you see a lot of cross-hatching in comic book art. A lot of my stuff is comic book art style. I don't buy comic books, I really don't, but when I see them, I kind of study them and see how they do their darks and their cross-hatching. And I've learned over the years how to do it. For example, right here I'm doing some cross-hatching and some curved contour lines so the eyes look more round. This is like a preliminary thing because when I put my ink washes in, they get very round. So I'm going around and I'm embellishing on the leaves, kind of the way that guy did. I stole his stuff. I have no problem stealing. I think you should steal my stuff. You only learn from stealing. Nobody has an original idea anymore. Even though I think this is an original idea. I'm lying. I'm sure this has been done 100 times. I think Monsters, Inc. actually had a creature with multiple eyes, because we watched it just the other day so I could steal some more ideas. And there's some pretty good ideas there. My stuff really appeals to kids. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think I'm a kid. But I'm not going to be making flowers for, like I said in another different video, for old ladies, because I don't do decorative art. Unless you're like a 12-year-old boy and want to hang this in your room, and that'd be cool in your room. If I was 12 years old, I'd love to have this in my room. Seriously, I would. When I was a kid, I had all kinds of cool fantasy stuff hanging in my room. I had a really cool Boris Vallejo paintings, posters, were really kind of cool. And that's what I always magnate towards. And I hate to say it, but I kind of live in my 13-year-old brain when it comes to my artwork. And I really have no desire to change that, because this is what's fun for me. And there's lots of people out there who have lots of hobbies and do things for fun that I would never do in a million years. But I enjoy watching it. Just today, I was watching one of my favorite YouTube guys, this guy who makes epoxy sculptures. And he's really super good at it. He's good at narrating, and he goes through the whole process of how he does it. And I've watched him probably do, I don't know, probably 24 different sculptures. I can't remember the name of his channel. It starts with a B. It's 2 letters. B something sculptures. I should look it up, so I'm not giving you bad information. But he's really super good. And I would never do that in a million years. I mean, back in the day, and when I was younger, I did a lot of woodworking. I actually have a woodworking shop in my garage. But this guy has way, way more equipment, expensive stuff. And the epoxy stuff requires all kinds of special stuff. And I have no desire to do that. Plus, I'm not really a 3D guy. In a different video I made, I explained when I was in college that my advisor was the 3D teacher, and I didn't care for having a 3D teacher because it just wasn't my thing. His office was full of clay dust, and not, for people who like that kind of stuff, that's great. I just did not like going in this class and coming out covered in dust. And most of my sculptures blew up in the kiln anyway. I just didn't want to sit there and spin pots. It wasn't my thing. I wanted to go over to the painting room and paint because that was what I did. But, you know, right now you're saying, well, why didn't you just change advisors? Well, I didn't even think about it at the time because I didn't spend a lot of time with him anyway. I think I met with him twice in 4 years. I probably should have met more because I probably would have graduated if I would have. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in college so I could sit here and make YouTube videos. Isn't that awesome? I've been paying off student loans for 35 years so I could do this. Okay, I'm done complaining. So anyway, I'm putting some dark outlines on my flower petals, and this is about 80% dark. It's not completely black. I didn't use any blacks on this at all. I used 2 tones of gray, probably about a 40% and about an 80%, because I wanted to have 2 tones. And here I am just kind of edging some stuff. And I'm a big fan of edging comics because if you look at the Marvel and the DC stuff, they do that all the time. It's like a hallmark. Okay, I know I'm putting in the pupils. The pupils and the eyes are like my specialty. I'm not trying to brag, but I have a way of doing them that I think that just explode off the page. Oh, while I got you here, do me a favor and make some comments. I don't care what kind of comments they are. You know, tell me I'm a trash artist. Tell me I'm a fantastic artist. Just let me know you're there because I feel like I'm all alone out in outer space. Now I'm adding some color, and I use a watercolor technique here where I skip over the places where I want highlights and make that little paper. It's a color of paper, but it looks really cool, like it's a white highlight. And if you do any watercolors, you know that trick. Later on, I do actually go in and add some white, which I tint with a little bit of paint for more highlights. So this picture is a hybrid because it's mixed media. It's pencil. It's also paint and watercolor. Now, watercolor and acrylic paint are both acrylic paints. One's just thinner. The pencil work I used 8B as in boy and 2B as in boy pencils. So I'm using a lot of different things here to make this, and I'm using different techniques. And now I took some of my red from the lips, and I wanted to use that strictly off my palette because I didn't want to do a lot of mixing. So I just kind of added some red on a few of them. I'm trying to see what I'm doing here. Okay, and then later I added a little bit of the green to the red, and then I added a little bit to the yellow to the red so I could have some different color flowers without going too drastic. I mean, I didn't want this to look like Grandma's bouquet on her couch on her desk and be too colorful. I want to kind of keep it as a limited palette and not go too nuts. So see, that one right there has a little bit of yellow in it, just a touch, just enough to make it not look like the red one. So I must have added a little bit of yellow to the red, make some yellow. And I use watercolor tube paint, not the hard paint. I got the tubes. You can probably see one in the picture there. No, you can't. But I keep the tubes onto the top side of the frame here, and I got like a dozen of them just sitting there so I can pick them out as I need them. Looks like I'm putting some green in. I probably added something to that green. Probably some red just to change up a tiny bit. So I'm going in and I'm adding some highlights to the upper and lower eyelids of the monster, the multi-eyed tusked monster. And I'm leaving that little white highlight right in the middle. So I'm doing that cheap thing where I don't have to put in highlights, but later on I do it anyway because I'm a nut and I have to do it. See right here, this is the white paint, and I tinted it just a little bit of green so I could put some texture onto the squid monster. Now those aren't like, what do you call those little suckers that goes on the tentacles? That might be what that is. I don't know. You have to use your imagination. Okay, here goes. I'm putting in the blue on the irises. Just a little wash, just to tint it blue. Now I have a process for eyeballs, and I'm going to show you how I do it right here. I go in with this next one. It's white watercolor paint tinted with a tiny bit of blue, and I put it on the underside of the iris. That's a light reflection. It's a dimmer light reflection than the one I put on next, which is the highlight. Boom, watch that. Here goes. Ready? And boom, boom, boom. I'm putting the eye shine on every one of those, and that just makes it pop. That's what just makes the picture. That made the picture worth $1 million. So if you want to buy this picture, I'll save it for you. It's $1 million. So in order to buy it, you have to comment. You have to say, I'm willing to pay you $1 million for this. So comment share it, like it, hit the bell, all that social media stuff. Share this with your friends. If this helps you paint something other than crazy monsters, that's awesome. I do appreciate you guys hanging out and being. I need more subscribers. This page is actually growing. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. I've had it for almost 2 years now, and I'm actually getting somewhere finally. So if you guys can help me out and keep sharing, keep subscribing, and get your friends to help, I do appreciate it. There's my name, Keith Trim, in the year 24. Thank you much.